And we're back. And this time on Perspectives, we have Lori Long. Now, Lori may be a new face to you, coming from the Community Food Bank of Northeast Oklahoma. Lori, how long have you been over there?
Well, Sam, I am just getting ready to celebrate 6 months here at the food bank. And yes, that means I started right with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. So a very interesting first 6 months.
Well, let me guess. You've had an increased demand. Am I right?
Well, how did you know? Yes, we absolutely have. There's been due to a variety of reasons, but predominantly, of course, the economic situation throughout the nation, quite honestly, but specifically here in eastern Oklahoma and some of our specialized industries, we've definitely felt the economic fallout, and that has really impacted food insecurity for our community.
Lori, have you been with the food bank for a while, or are you new to the operation?
I am completely new to the operation. I have long admired and followed the food bank as a nonprofit professional, but really had no knowledge of the inner workings or the logistics of food banking until I was hired as their CEO. And so it's been a very quick onboarding process and overall industry learning process for me.
Who do you turn away?
Thankfully, I'm excited to tell you we haven't had to turn anybody away. We have a really great team here at the food bank that we have been able to really sit down and plan and strategize. We do that all the time, but especially during this pandemic and our emergency response, we have been able to maintain our service to our 450 plus partner agencies throughout our 24 county service area, and we directly have not had to deny service to anyone to this point in time.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I know there are times when your job becomes more than your job. It becomes incredibly personal. It reaches inside and does a lot of ripping and tearing out. I would suppose that in the past 2 months, you've seen things that just absolutely break your heart.
I absolutely have. And you are right. I think, most nonprofit professionals, they find that passion and that calling in their sector and whatever that looks like. I again have long admired the food bank. They serve all the way from, infants and children's to our seniors and our veterans and everyone in between. And one of the things that I was very clear about when I took my position and my role here at the food bank is I wanted to stay connected to those people that we serve. Food bank is not traditionally a direct service organization. We are a distribution organization that goes through our partners to distribute. But I wanted to stay in touch with those end clients, if you will. And so I've taken a lot of time the last 2 months to get out there into the community, meet the people that are being served. And so I've gone to some of our summer feeding sites where I've been able to meet some of the children and the families that have been impacted not only through COVID, but just food insecurity in general. I have visited some of our homeless shelters, our senior feeding programs. But I will tell you the experience that really sticks with me. On September 11th, of course, a very prominent day in our nation's history, I was able to visit one of our veteran distributions. And it really meant a lot to be there that day. We had a number of guardsmen that were recipients of service. We had some retired military members, and we had family members who had lost a loved one due to their military service. It was a very special day. And it was extremely heart-wrenching to see and talk and hear their stories. The volunteers that came out were amazing. And we had firefighters, we had school children, we had the VFW. It was just absolutely moving and confirmed that I know I'm in the right place. It was a really feel-good day. Despite
Well,
all the bad that's going on in our world, it was a great day.
you're able to really hands-on help.
Yes,
Uh,
that's right.
Something out there that concerns me. For the last month or so, I've been standing out in the street waving my arms saying, hey, somebody, you better pay attention to me here. We are on the brink of a tsunami, if you will, in Tulsa, of people losing their homes, losing their apartments. I mean, we're just a stone's throw away. We had County Commissioner Karen Keith
Yes,
on last week. Karen explained to us that there were some funds made available, government funds. They were able to assist a lot of folks who needed it. But those funds are only going to go so far. There's no indication of renewal of those funds.
that's right.
If that happens and all of these folks are thrown into a place where they don't have a roof over their heads and they come to you for food, can you help them, or do they have a place to live first?
No, absolutely not. We for sure will be able to help them. And I will tell you that one of the things we have really put a lot of time and energy into the last 6 months is making sure people know where to go for assistance beyond just food assistance. So, for example, in some of our distributions that the food bank is operating directly, everyone who comes through a distribution receives a card that has information about 211. I'm sure you've heard of 211, but if your listeners have not, 211 is kind of a social service hotline, if you will. Instead of calling 911 for medical and other types of emergencies, 211 is there to help people through human and social service needs, no matter what it is: clothing, food, utilities, rent assistance, medical assistance, childcare, and the list goes on. And so we want to make sure that they know, yes, food is one piece of the puzzle, but there are a lot of other needs out there. And we certainly don't claim to be experts in all of those areas, but we can provide a referral source. And 211, in our opinion, is the best referral source for those individuals.
It certainly is a big, big help.
Yes,
I got to ask you something.
sure.
I know that there are folks that you've seen time and time again, and your heart goes out to them. And then you get new ones in, and all of a sudden you start to see them more and more. Do the people understand that it's not a mark of failure on their part, that it's a mark of the times?
We certainly try to convey that, and we agree 100% with what you're saying. Part of our mission and our vision is to serve people with dignity. And it does not matter how many times they come to us or one of our partner agencies for assistance. We believe they deserve to be treated with that respect and that dignity every single time, no matter their circumstances. But I will tell you that is a common belief and misperception in the community, is that they are a product of their own shortcomings or failures. And in non-COVID times, I wouldn't say that either, but especially during COVID times, there are so many pressures among our families and our neighbors and our community members right now that it is certainly not the time to make that sort of judgment.
Certainly.
There are wonderful programs out there that will help individuals rise up and try to work through those circumstances. But no matter what, those are not quick fixes. They are going to take time. And especially with what's facing us right now, it's even more time that it's going to take. So we're operating with a lot of other people by saying we're giving each other grace. We have to give each other grace right now.
Let me ask you a question that takes us one step further into you. How many times do you walk into your home after a day of helping folks and put your hand on the wall and say, "Dear Lord, thank you." It's got to come home. It's got to be there. You've got to be reminded how privileged we all are to have a place to go.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I say that daily. My family and I, my husband, my children, we are a very blessed family, and I do not take that for granted at all. I was raised not to take it for granted, and so I think that's what kind of drew me to the work that I do. Is I don't take my circumstances and the blessings in my life for granted, and I want to be there as a resource for others, and let them know that there are people in this community who care and who want to help them no matter their circumstances. And that's a large community at the food bank. It is not just us and our staff and our partners, it is our donors who make this happen. It is our volunteers who stick by us. It is, people like you, Sam, who allow us to share our message. All of that comes into play, and it's very, very important.
Well, one more thing. We got less than a minute.
Okay.
Somebody wants to take advantage of what you have to offer, and they're not sure how it works.
Yeah.
Do they have to sign up in advance? Do they say it's just for me, or I have a husband and 2 children, or how does this come together?
Yeah, so usually we do need to know if what their family composition is like. The good news is right now, because of COVID, a lot of those reporting restrictions has been loosened, but we still do like to gather for our information, number in the household and their ages, their zip code. That's very important. So we kind of know the demographics of our constituents. And then we do like to identify if there's a veteran in the household as well.
Lori, we're out of time. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for what
Sam.
you're doing. And give our thanks to everybody out there, would you?
We sure will. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Later. We're all out of time. We'll see you around here next time, folks. For now, be careful out there.